What would you do if what you thought was just a haunted place was, in fact, a living being hungry for suffering? What would you do if your job was to uncover the history of an asylum, only to become its next chapter? Part 1. The Mission. Chloe was a paranormal investigator. Not the kind who seeks fame and money, but a historian who tried to understand why certain places are haunted. She believed in residual energy, where people's memories and emotions could get trapped in a place, like an echo of the past. She saw ghosts as memories, not as souls. That was her theory, and the Blackwood Asylum in rural Pennsylvania was her proof. Blackwood was shut down in 1968 after a scandal involving unethical treatments and the mysterious death of several patients. Chloe got permission to spend an entire night there, aiming to record data for her new book. She had a high-tech camera, audio sensors, and an unwavering faith in her own reason. The asylum structure was imposing, with broken windows and aged brick walls. The air inside was heavy, charged with the smell of mold and despair. As the sunlight faded, Chloe began filming, narrating every step. We are in the main hall. The sound you hear is just the wind. This is what most people mistake for ghosts. She went to the patient ward, the rooms with rusty beds and sealed windows. She found patient files which detailed the sadness and despair. And it was there that her theory began to crumble. Her high-sensitivity microphone picked up something. It wasn't the wind. It was a faint, almost imperceptible whisper, a voice full of pain that seemed to be crying for help. She tried to rationalize it, thinking it was some external noise, but the sound seemed to come from inside the walls. Part 2. The Truth from a Diary. As the night progressed, the asylum seemed to come to life. The wheelchair that she was sure she had left at the end of the hallway was now near the door. The doors opened and closed on their own. The air temperature fell and rose randomly. She felt a cold touch on her back, like a hand. But what scared her the most were the voices. They were not whispers. They were screams. She found a patient's diary hidden in a room. The diary belonged to a man named Robert. The entries began with a description of his normal life in the asylum, but the tone quickly changed. Robert spoke of a watcher, an entity that fed on fear. He is not in the house. He is the house. He feeds on our screams, our despair. Dr. Thorne created him. Chloe found other diaries and patient files. They all spoke about Dr. Thorne and the Watcher. They spoke of treatments that drove them to madness, experiments that made them feel terror. They were not just patients. They were guinea pigs. Robert's voice in the diary suddenly changed. He wrote with a desperate handwriting that the Watcher was not a ghost. He was a psychic entity. Dr. Thorne, the man who created him, was consumed by him, and he was still there. It was then that she found Dr. Thorne's own diary. It was hidden in a locked drawer in the medical wing. The diary entries detailed an experiment. Dr. Thorne was trying to create a life form based on human suffering. He used the patients as fuel. They are not patients. They are my ingredients. Their screams are my energy. The last entry was from a nurse who discovered everything. She wrote with a shaky handwriting that Dr. Thorne was, in fact, a patient. He had killed the real Dr. Thorne and stolen his coat. He was madness in person. The nurse said that she and the others locked themselves in the basement, afraid, and that he was coming for them. Part 3. The Real Nightmare. Chloe, now full of terror, ran out of the medical wing. She was becoming the next victim. She was not in a haunted place. She was in a place that fed on fear. The Watcher was not a ghost. He was a monster who used the patient's memories to create terror. The hallway lights went out. Robert's voice echoed through the ward, and the voices of other patients joined it. They were screams, laughter, cries. Chloe's sanity was draining away. She hid in a room. The Watcher was becoming more real. A dark and shapeless mass formed in the darkness. Inside it, Chloe could see faces, the faces of the patients, in a dance of suffering. They were the souls that had been consumed by the creature. She was not in a haunted place. She was the next soul. The Watcher moved towards her, his body made of despair and fear. A voice, which had no sound, whispered in her mind, "You are next. Write your story." Chloe screamed, but the sound was sucked away. The terror of not being heard was greater than anything she had ever experienced. She dropped her camera, which was still recording, and was consumed by the darkness. The last sound the camera captured was a muffled scream and the sound of a satisfied sigh, as Chloe's soul joined the collection. The camera was found years later, and the recording became a legend on the internet. Chloe's voice, in the end, can be heard, trapped forever in the darkness. And on some days when the wind blows, Chloe's voice can be heard, a new soul added to the asylum. What would you do if what you thought was just an echo was a prison?